How do I set up a chess smothered mate? Imagine a game where your opponent's king is completely trapped with no way out. You want to finish with a move that's both clever and decisive. That's where the smothered mate comes into play. It's a checkmate delivered by a knight when the king is surrounded by its own pieces, leaving no escape squares. The knight jumps into action from a square that puts the king in check while the king's own pieces block all other options. To set this up, you first need to corner the opponent's king in a tight spot, usually in a corner of the board like h8 or a1. The king's own pawns and pieces should be blocking the escape routes, creating a smothered position. Next, you want to force the opponent's pieces into these blocking positions. This often involves tactical moves like checks or sacrifices that make the opponent capture or move their pieces into the right spots. Once the king is trapped, you plan your knight's final move. The knight should land on a square next to the king, from which it checks the king and delivers checkmate. The key is ensuring the king cannot move to any adjacent square because they are either occupied or controlled by your other pieces. Sometimes, supporting pieces like queens or rooks help by checking or forcing the opponent's pieces into the right position. For example, a queen sacrifice might lure a rook or pawn to block the escape squares, setting up the smothered position. A classic example is when the knight moves to f7 or f2, delivering checkmate while the king is surrounded by its own pieces. This pattern often arises from tactical sequences like double checks, where the king must move, or sacrifices that force the opponent to block the escape routes. Recognizing these patterns can help you spot opportunities for smothered mates in your own games. The famous game of Paul Morphy features a queen sacrifice that forces the opponent's rook to capture, smothering the king, followed by a knight move that ends the game. To master this tactic, practice spotting when the opponent's king is cornered and their own pieces are blocking escape. Look for moments when a knight can jump into the right square to deliver checkmate. Remember, supporting your knight with other pieces can make the final move unstoppable. The smothered mate is a beautiful example of how tactical awareness and piece coordination can lead to a swift, elegant victory. So, the next time you see a king trapped in a corner with its own pieces blocking all escape, think about how a knight might deliver that final, winning blow. Practice these setups, and you'll be surprised how often you can catch your opponent off guard with a smothered mate.